I don't know if the Klan is in here tonight or not with all the trouble we're having with these microphones. Seldom, if ever, we're still working with it. As I was about to say, seldom, if ever, has such a diverse and truly ecumenical gathering convened under the aegis of politics in our nation. And I want to commend the leadership of the national and the depressing ghettos of the North. We have come from the great universities and the flourishing suburbs. We have come from Appalachian poverty and from conscience-stricken wealth. But we have come. And we have come here because we shared a common concern for the moral health of our nation. We have come because our eyes have seen through the superficial glory and glitter of our society and observed the coming of judgment. The wall. We have seen our nation weighed in the balance of history and found wanting. We have come because we see this as a dark hour in the affairs of men. For most of us, this is a new move. We are traditionally the idealists. We are the marchers from Mississippi.
We are the marchers from Mississippi, from Arkansas, from Louisiana, from New Orleans, from Florida, from Alabama, from Arkansas. We are the marchers and the idealists. I want to come this morning, this evening, to talk about the $1 trillion flow. And I really want to talk about that divine tax that we've been taxed as slaves. We've been taxed, or our ancestors have been taxed over and over. But I want to deal with the murder of Kobe Bryant. But I want to go deeper, going into Black History Month. I want to go deeper into the murder of this country, the murder of the people that's in this country. I want to deal with the murder of our ancestors. I want to deal with the murder of the Native American Indians, the Native American blacks. I want to deal with the Native American people that have been murdered down through the years. And I want to take time out to talk about the lynchings and the burning. I could talk about Wall Street and talk to Oklahoma, where the government anticipates in the bombing and the killing. I can go to Nebraska talking about one man that was hung, the mob, the angry mob, playing the race card, took him out and killed him. And I can talk about Florida, where the whole town went against blacks, they had to slip out. And I can talk about Homer, Louisiana, where people had to slip out from the Ku Klux Klan, which was started by the federal government. I want to talk for Black History Month. I want to carry you back to the reality. I want to carry you back to the history of what's been going on with the murder and how the murder come up to this day. I want to deal with the murder that's going on with black people throughout the years, the murder that's been going on with black folks. And some of you might have not seen it, but I want to deal with the murder mentality, a loss of blacks that happened with us. And I want to go back to back to slavery, going into black history, go back to what's some of the stuff that's going on today and what's happening with us as we get ready to move into the new millennium, the new lynching, the new hanging. We just found out how did it create itself and how did it do. We want to talk about Paul Lanston, Bob Robertson. We're going into Black History Month. The murders is among us. We want to go back to where you got to know Marcus Garvey had a movement to go back to Africa. He had a movement that the black man, the black Native American black man, to be equal as the white man, but that was cut out. So as that was cut out, we had to deal with the racist mentality that went on in America. Now, I want to deal with the murder of Kobe Bryant, but I want to go back before that. I want to deal with the murder of John Kennedy. In '63, John Kennedy was murdered in Texas, in Dallas. That was a part of assassinations. The evil people got together and they murdered the president because he finna change policies. He was getting ready to change policies within the federal government. So he was assassinated before everybody. He was killed. That's number one. Number two, his brother was assassinated. Robert Kennedy was assassinated because he found out who did the killing and how the killing was come about. So he was assassinated. So we got two murders right there, going 63 and going into he's going to be president where he can get to the bottom of the evil that's already invested within our government. The Trump doing is evil within our government. So that's the kind of stuff that's going on. So this morning we're talking about the cover up and murder. Linda Bland was covered. Mark Clark and Fred Hampton was murdered here in Chicago. And it was covered up. And Michael up in St. Louis was murdered, cover up. And it's so many cover up murders have happened to us and as blacks, and we never understand why the murder came about. Kennedy was murdered because Kennedy was getting ready to expose the Justice Department. He was getting ready to expose the FBI and the CIA. So they had to wipe him out. It's documented, look it up. And I already know that as I go on, that's Robert, that's John and Robert. Now, the next murder was the murder of Martin Luther King. And Martin Luther King was murdered because he was getting ready to open up the doors for jobs and getting ready to boycott the major corporations. So you had the big business that give you Black Friday, that give you Christmas, that give you Easter. Those big companies got together along with some insurance companies, along with some other major corporations at the top, got ready. I'm talking about Black History now, and they killed Martin Luther King. They silenced him. It wasn't about the dream, it was about economic development. Dr. King was murdered in Memphis by 2 or 3 shooters. And he tried to make you think James Earl World, Ray didn't do it. He was just one of the men that was there. You had people from the FBI, CIA, people from the Army. All of them was in on, if you don't get him, we gonna get him. He got to die. Because you're getting ready to call national global boycott. Let me say it again, a global boycott. stopping ships from coming in, and pairing up with China, pairing up with Russia, pairing up with all the major companies he was pairing up with. So that was global. So now, when I look at this and I understand what's going on, after Martin Luther King, I want to go a step back. Marcus Garvey was ran out of America, sent back to Jamaica because he was Jamaican. You can't come to America. They couldn't kill him, so they run him out. This same racist government who got people from Africa, brought our ancestors from Africa, made them work free in North Carolina, South Carolina, in Richmond, Carolina, down in Richmond, Virginia, where Barker is king, down in Mississippi, where cotton is king. Free labor for 100 years of free labor. You talking about stop the killing, save the baby. You talking about they say, well, Holocaust. We've been in the Holocaust for 200 years or more, and Dr. King spoke out. But I want to deal with this where I can understand. John F. Kennedy was killed because he went to Birmingham. He called blacks and getting blacks freedom. They said, we can't stand this man to let the blacks go. So he was assassinated. That's one reason. Other reason, because he was changing the FBI, the CIA, the Justice. He was changing all that around, so they killed him. Okay, and the people that killed him was in his cabinet. They didn't want no change. You talking about the Dixiecrats did that, and the same Dixiecrats, along with some mafia, killed Robert because he was getting to the bottom of it. He had to go. It's violence. It's time to make. It's time for them to make martyrs. So Kennedy was a martyr. King was a martyr. Robert was a martyr. This was done by the evil that's with us. I just want to say that this was done by evil people that's with us today. So I just want to explore that. Now, when I go back and we look and we open the doors up, this is 2020. Now, I want to move where Martin Luther King was in 68. He was murdered. Kennedy was very young. Robert was very young. Martin was 38, very young. Now, let's go to the entertainment field. I hope I ain't missing nothing. Robert was killed because he was going to find out who killed his brother. King was killed because he was talking about boycott globally, boycott. And they couldn't stand that. But in the midst of King's death and the death of Malcolm X was rallying people, making conscious to how the devil did and what happened. So he was very involved in the mass murder of things in this country. So Malcolm was the conscious. I'm Malcolm, I'm King, I'm Kennedy. We took on the energy. You can kill the man, but you can't kill the spirit, his fight. You can kill the man, but you can't kill the energy of love, peace, joy. And I'm going to talk about the modern day slavery right now, besides murder. See, you've got to deal with what's going on. I ain't got to Kobe yet. I want to stop by what happened to Mark Clark and Fred Hampton in Chicago. They was murdered at midnight by Everett Hammerhand. He was a state's attorney, along with the Chicago Police Department. When Daley said shoot to kill, Daley said shoot to kill in the ride. And also with Daley, it was common when Mark Clark and Fred Hampton was killed on the west side of Chicago. I think it was Western and Madison where they were killed. And then I want to talk about what happened with the ride when he said shoot to kill. I want to think, when I'm going to Chicago now, the West Side Organization, the Black Panther Party that was feeding children, and the vice lords, the conservative vice lords, when Dr. King came to town, the vice lords of the Blackstone Rangers and the gangster disciple was the ones that watched over Dr. King, kept Dr. King alive when Daley pulled the police off of his detail. The young boys stepped up. Now I want to go into the gang thing, into the youth thing. There was Eugene Harrison called Bull over the Black Stone, the first beginning of the Black Stone. And and then in the disciples, the devil disciples, it was David Boxdale. And Larry Hoover stepped up after Boxdale left the scene, who was a leader of young folks. After Eugene Harrison, which called the Bull, stepped up, Jeff Ford stepped up as the president of the Peace Stone Nation. Larry Hoover stepped up as the president of the Gangster Disciples, which is nationwide. Those boys created jobs, climate, and taking the neighborhood back that had been stolen by politics in Chicago, with Daley and his ship Bob, with Ever Hammerhand and other political officials that took over Woodlawn, took over Inglewood, took over Lawndale, and took over on the north side. We want to thank the Latin kings that stepped in with these teen nations. Reverend Dunlap, Reverend Al Sampson, that had a gang conference with Dr. King. Who was at the gang conference? The disciples, the Blackstone Rangers, the Latin King, and also they had the Castanova Kings, the Cobblestones, the Blackstones. All of them had got together along with all the gangs that come together in Chicago to fight against the unions that wouldn't hire black men, wouldn't put them in the union. And because of that, many brothers was killed by the police department. They come up murdered. They come up shot and killed. And the Black Panther armed themselves, and it changed the flavor in Oakland, California, Los Angeles, Mississippi, Arkansas, Detroit. It changed the flavor that we would have to defend ourselves. Okay, that happened on LA campus, Illinois campus, Grambling campus, Mississippi State, Jackson State. Things changed in Alabama State, and where blacks couldn't play football and basketball because of the Black Panther, because of them that changed the flavor. Now, let's get back with the murder. Now, they done brought our ancestry here from America. We here. And we don't have the right. We fought in the army. Our soldiers, Tuskegee Institute, those soldiers fought good in Tuskegee. We were brought here from Africa, but none of us would get a chance to eat the glory of sitting in the high seat. So it was a fight. Racism, white supremacy is real today. Where racism at? It's in our government, it's in our politics, it's in our education system. Racism, white supremacy is real today. If we're going into black history, this is some of the stuff happened. Kobe was murdered. Y'all ain't liking me. Dr. King was murdered. Malcolm X was murdered. It was no accident. Michael Jackson was murdered. Prince was murdered. I'm gonna tell you how. Linda Bland was murdered, hung in her cell. She was murdered. But we so naive, and we so patriotic, we let murder happen to us. I'm gonna start with Kobe because Kobe was murdered. Well, bitch, why he was murdered? Number one, Kobe had already made a deal with China to set a NBA franchise in China. That's number one. Number two, the pharmaceutical company he was in with them because they wanted to buy the Obama, his name, he wouldn't sell it. That's number two. Number three, he was pulling away from the NBA to start his own, and he had much the business. So he was murdered. The helicopter, some hit the helicopter and made it go in a circle. Now, when the helicopter fell, it was in 1,000 pieces, so it blowed up in the air. But they ain't gonna tell you that. And all the people that was with Kobe, they was there, and they had to get him, so that's what they did. So he was murdered. Dr. King was murdered. Dr. King was talking about a global boycott all over the world. Kobe was known all over the world. Now, the political piece with Kobe could have been your next governor of California, your next president. He's more popular than Trump ever will be. Trump is the devil. Trump and Russia is together. When you look at Putin, you're looking at Trump. So Trump don't care. And the Republicans, if you put the hoods on them, they Ku Klux Klan all the Republicans from down south. And they trying to uphold a situation that's going away. This is real talk going into black history. Wake up, black man. Wake up, black woman. This is real stuff. The murder is among us. The assassination of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was murdered because he was a trillionaire. He owned lots of stuff. He owned all the package of the Beatles. They tried everything to get him. The only way they could murder him. Michael Jackson was murdered. We think it just happened. He just went to sleep. He was murdered. Now I want to go to the next level. Michael Jackson was murdered. Prince was murdered. They stopped the plane in Moline, but they wouldn't bring him to Chicago. The doctor that gave him the pills, he disappeared. So Prince was murdered also. Now you got 3 black men murdered. You got Prince murdered. You got Michael Jackson murdered. Then you got Kobe murdered. You got Martin Luther King murdered. Mark Clark and Fred Hampton murdered. He in Chicago. And you got people in Houston, Texas murdered. In Dallas, John F. Kennedy murdered. Let me stop. John Richard Jr. was murdered. He was murdered because he would be the next president. Bush would have never got in. They had to kill John in the plane. They had to kill Kobe because Kobe was getting ready to move, not only setting up a new NBA, but getting ready to run for a political position. And he would have been #1 for to be the new black president of America. They couldn't have that. So you got to understand, white folks think ahead. They cut off the head before it gets up. So this was happening with this. Kobe was murdered. It was a calculated hit. It wasn't just that, but to make us think it's an accident. Those people died with him. They were just there with him. They had to kill him by any means necessary. This is a military type of thing. People in power. Why they had to get Kobe? Kobe was potential to be president. He was potential to have his own brand. He was potential to be. People loved him in China, and all over in China they loved him. He was #1 there. He would be the ambassador. He could overshadow the president or anybody come in. So the political people got together. We got to knock him off. He got to go, and he got to go now because he had rose to that height. Okay, I just want to say that to you. The Democrats and Republicans, most of them is rich. They on page sending guns and dope in our community. This is Black History Month. Kobe Bryant was murdered. Prince was murdered. Whitney Houston was murdered. But why they murdered Whitney? Because she can talk, she can sing, she can resonate all over the world. Why Prince was murdered? Because Prince was touching people all over the world. Why Michael Jackson was murdered? Because Michael Jackson was known all over the world. They don't want no black man to reach that level, or no black woman to reach that level. So they was murdered. Ashe, Ashe, our ancestor. I want to say to you that listening tonight or today, do your research. You'll see that Kennedy Jr., John they call him, he was murdered. Well, why they murdered him? Because he was going to be the next president of America. And the politics didn't want him. The most dangerous president we had in office was Bush. He left the CIA to be president. And when John F. Kennedy told Hoover, hey, you over with, after I get back from Dallas, I want you to leave this office. He didn't make it back from Dallas. When King was in Memphis, he said, we're going to do a global boycott. The word said, he can't leave Memphis alive. These are the things that right before our eyes, black man, black woman, the Hispanic, these are before our eyes. We are Native American black. I'm Native American black. I'm a Native American. I ain't been to Africa. I'm here. My great-grandfather, I'm standing on the back of my grandfather, my great-grandmother. I want to say this to you today. Whatever you look at, Sam Cooke was murdered. Well, why Sam Cooke was murdered? Sam Cooke had his own record company. He had his own studio. He was motivating young black artists. And he had cut the other people out and said, I'm doing my own thing. He had to go. Well, he shot a black woman. That woman didn't kill him. She was there. Somebody else didn't kill him. They got to her and they left. So that's what happened to Sam Cooke. When you step up to the plate and you ain't got no protection, they will kill you in your business. Not only did Kobe had many businesses that he was running, finna set up all women's basketball team. Already got the nod from China to set up something to the NBA there. Now, this man had retired from playing basketball. He was getting ready to take the world globally by storm. And they couldn't stand to have a black man with that kind of power. I'm talking about global power and loved all over the world. Okay? The pharmaceutical company comes in, so we want that patent, the Obama, that snake. So I can't do that. So it's the law. So you got to understand why his death was critical for 2020. They had to get him away. They had to make him a martyr in order to get what they want. Wake up. The murder is among us. The dope, the drugs, the pharmaceutical company is sending all kind of pills out here. And the government is not regulating because Trump is in place. Trump was put in place by Russia. And the Republicans know it, the Democrats know it. They know Trump was sent and put in to destroy this country on the inside. This is Black History Month. Wake up. And then the food is being regulated. You're dying with fried food. You're dying with the chemicals. Now I want to talk about the virus over in China. You say what that's about. Over 10,000 people have died. They ain't told you that though. They got over 50 million people quarantined. And they quarantined. Why they quarantined? Because they was eating meat, raw meat. They was eating meat from the bush country that's contaminated. So this disease is all over America. And America know about it. The line, I want to deal with what happened with the bombing. Israel, Trump has set Israel up to run the Middle East. They set up to run the Middle East. So that's what's going on with the Middle East. And it's all about taking power of the world, the New World Order. And the New World Order, black folks, brown folks, Native Americans, not in it. Afro-Americans, not in it. Native Americans, not in it. They brought people from European in it. They want the next power to be Israel. They want the Jews to run the Middle East. It ain't gonna happen. The killing of Muammar Gaddafi, he was killed by foreign powers because they wanted the oil that's over there in Africa. So it's a lot going on. The Europeans want everything that's in Africa. They go, they sink, everything with a brainwash of Christianity, the brainwash of Christianity to our people. Now I want to say this to you, black man, black woman, tell me, you've been a Christian all these years, tell me where you're not free. Tell me you've been, when the white man went to Africa, he brought Christianity back to America. It was already there. Then you got the Arabs, they brought Islam, a part of it. They didn't bring the real Islam back. It's a slave religion. Here's a house full of black people serving a white Jesus. Okay? Here's a house full of people serving a Kaaba, and it ain't there. Okay? So it's a lot going on in our religious field. If we one body in the Almighty, if I go back to Egypt, Ashe, Amun Ra, the one God, the one universe, as we move. I want to tell you, the murder is among us. And both people, as I speak now, Michael Jackson's spirit have spoke to some of his followers. Okay. Elvis Presley gave appeal to kill him because he was changing. Yeah, let me go back to Elvis Presley. They say he committed suicide. No, it was something given to him because he was seeing what was going on. He was murdered. Elvis Presley was murdered. I just want to say that. He didn't die. They made it look so nice. He was murdered. Okay? So I want you to understand some of the death that's going on was orchestrated by big money business, by government, by local government and federal government. So you have to understand some of this is going on now. I want to say to you, God bless you. I want you to strive to the Dr. King movement. And I want to say about the modern day slavery, right now in America, you have men on death row. And you got, in Philadelphia right now, you got about 25 brothers got life. And the courts is sending black men to jail for life. You got the Crips and the Blood, some of their leaders in jail for life. You got Jeff Ford, the leader of the Black Peace Stone Nation and the African Nation, is in jail for life. And then you got right now in life, he got life. Now you got Larry Hoover got life, the black Larry Hoover with the gangster's disciple. Larry Hoover also with the devil disciple, which when I put Larry Hoover together, I put David Boxdale and Larry Hoover as president of these organizations. Jeff Ford and Bull Harrison is head of the Black Peace Stone Nation, head of the Black Peace Stone Nation, and the Arukins. Those are the president and CEO of those companies, but they are in jail. But the skinhead is still out here. The Ku Klux Klan is still out here, and they all have come to fight, and they all are in jail. And now Congress took off the white sheets, and they put on suits and ties, and they got robes on, and they're still killing black men and black women in America, and they make us to turn on ourselves. This is some of the real stuff that's happening in America. I hope you wake up and let our ancestors, this is some of the modern day slavery, this is some of the modern day rape and killing that's going on in America today. I want to get that out. I want you to know, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, we're in a situation where young black men and women are being killed by the thousands. Black on black crime, that ain't just happening. That's orchestrated for you to kill each other. It's set up chemtrails in the air. They shoot down, blacks shooting blacks, and Mexicans shooting Mexicans. It's because you're in a box. So we have to come out of that to know that all the dope and the drugs, I'm talking about the hard stuff, is imported in. Trillions of dollars are being made through our government to other countries. $1 trillion being made as I speak right now. Guns is relative. You can get a gun when you can't get a cup of coffee in America. And America is the most violent country in the world. America. Every 15 minutes somebody being killed, shot, or robbed because it's set up that way. But I trust in the God of the universe. And I want you to know at this hour, this 12 o'clock hour, this morning hour, God can bless you and open a door for you. Get ready for a breakthrough. Get ready for God to bless the trillion flow, crossing over to a new world, miracles and healing coming. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I pray right now for the trillion flow. I pray that all of them, our ancestor, I go to the Ark of the Covenant, I go to Shabbat, east, west, north, and south, right here in America, right in Germany, right wherever you might be. There are floods, storms, and tornadoes that are coming back to back because the Creator, I want to say this in for the earthquake in China, the earthquake in Illinois, Missouri, Texas, Ohio, Miami, Cuba is coming, and the floods. Now, I'm going to speak on this tomorrow about what happened with the earthquake in the bottom of the ocean. And I see hurricanes coming, then I see volcanoes. I see 3 volcanoes in South America. I see 3 volcanoes in North America. And that's going to happen 2020. Get my book, Prophecy for 2020. Let me say it again. Get my book, Prophecy for 2020. Go to my website, thusseedabrahamyogursite.com. I'm on 7 days a week from 11 to 12 each night. Be able to get it and listen to what I got to say. May God bless you. May the ancestors walk with you. Ashe. I'm praying for your healing. I want you to go back to herbs because the medicine is being tainted. And I see floods in California. I see mudslides. I see fire in Oklahoma. I see fire in some part of Texas. I see fire in some part of Canada. Ashe. I want to give you the truth of what's going on in these cities. You got to go back to begin to farm ourselves. You got to get off of the grid and go back to Mother Nature. Go back to Mother Nature to be saved. I want to tell you, I'm excited. 2020 whole. I'm excited with 2020 bringing truth. There's a war going on right now. There's a cosmic war. There is a computer war. There is laser hitting things. You got lasers coming from space. You got different. You got sighting the UFO. You got people from another planet walking the earth, and that's gonna be found. I see this year where a plane gonna crash, a spaceship gonna crash. The government gonna keep it from you, but the people gonna see it. They can't tell a lie that the people gonna see it, so they can't stop it. I want you to get ready.